Have you ever looked up at the clouds and wondered what it would be like to stand above them? To be so high that the world, fades into a distant dream. Welcome to the roof of the world, a place where the air thins, silence reigns, and the planet's highest peak pierces the sky. This is Mount Everest, rising a staggering 8,848.86 meters. That's over 29,000 feet above sea level. Everest is more than just a colossal mountain of rock and ice. It's a powerful symbol of our human spirit, a testament to our relentless curiosity, our capacity for endurance, and that timeless, magnetic pull of the unknown. For centuries, it has captured the imagination of adventurers, poets, and dreamers alike. To the local Sherpa people, who are the true guardians of these sacred slopes, this isn't just Everest. They call it Sagarmatha, which beautifully translates to goddess of the sky. Cross over to the Tibetan side, and you'll hear the name Chamalungma, meaning Mother Goddess of the World. These names aren't just labels. They reflect a deep, spiritual connection, a reverence for the mountain that has been passed down through generations. Long before the first climbers arrived, Everest isn't just a destination. It's a living, breathing entity, a source of myth, legend, and profound inspiration. But who were the first people to stand on this formidable summit? The story that echoes around the globe is that of Sir Edmund Hillary, a humble beekeeper from New Zealand, and Tenzing Norgay, a courageous Sherpa climber. On May 29, 1953, they achieved the seemingly impossible. After a grueling expedition fraught with peril, they stood together on the highest point on Earth, gazing at a view no human had ever witnessed before. Their success wasn't just a personal victory. It was a monumental achievement for all of humanity. It sent a powerful message to the world. With courage, teamwork, and unwavering determination, even the most audacious dreams can be realized. This single event ignited a global passion for mountaineering and forever cemented Everest's place in our collective consciousness. However, the quest to conquer Everest began long before Hillary and Tenzing's historic climb. The 1920s saw a series of British expeditions attempting to solve the third pole problem. Among these early pioneers were George Mallory and Andrew Sandy Irvine. In 1924, they made a daring final push for the summit, disappearing into the swirling mists high on the mountain's north face. Their fate remains one of mountaineering's greatest mysteries. Were they the first to reach the top? A full 29 years before Hillary and Tenzing, Mallory's body was discovered in 1999, but the camera he was carrying, which might hold the answer, was missing. When asked why he wanted to climb Everest, Mallory famously replied, "Because it's there." This simple, profound statement perfectly captures the pure, intrinsic motivation that drives so many to face the world's greatest challenges. The mystery of Mallory and Irvine adds a layer of poignant and romantic allure to the mountainous, already rich history. Climbing Everest is an undertaking of epic proportions. It's not a weekend hike. It's a multi-month siege that tests the absolute limits of human physiology and mental fortitude. The journey typically begins with a flight to one of the world's most dangerous airports, Lucknow, in Nepal. From there, it's a 10 to 14-day trek just to reach base camp, which sits at an altitude of 5,364 meters. This trek isn't just about getting to the mountain. It's a crucial acclimatization process, allowing the body to slowly adapt to the dangerously low oxygen levels. Base camp itself is a sprawling, temporary city of colorful tents, a bustling hub of hope, anxiety, and international camaraderie, all set against the dramatic backdrop of the Khumbu Icefall. And the Khumbu Icefall, it is the first major obstacle and one of the most treacherous sections of the entire climb on the popular South Khal route. Imagine a constantly moving, chaotic river of ice with deep crevasses that can open without warning and towering seracs, cliffs the size of buildings that could collapse at any moment. Climbers must navigate this treacherous maze on rickety aluminum ladders, often in the dead of night when the ice is most stable. It's a terrifying, adrenaline-fueled game of Russian roulette, where the skill of the icefall doctors, a specialized team of Sherpas who forge and maintain the routes, the only thing standing between climbers and disaster. Beyond the icefall lies the Western Quam, a vast, glacier-filled valley that acts like a solar oven, reflecting the sun's rays and creating surprisingly high temperatures. Then comes the imposing Lot's face, a sheer wall of blue ice that climbers must ascend, using fixed ropes and cramp. After that, they reach Camp 4 and the infamous Death Zone. This is the region above 8,000 meters, where the oxygen level is so low, about a third of what it is at sea level, that the human body can no longer Here, the body begins to die, cell by cell. Every minute spent in the death zone brings a climber closer to their limit. Judgment becomes impaired. Physical tasks are Herculean, and the risk of frostbite, hypothermia, and high-altitude sickness becomes critical. The final push to the summit is a desperate race against time, a true test of will against the harshest environment on Earth. While the climbers get the headlines, the true heroes of Everest are, without a doubt, the Sherpa people. They are not just guides or porters. They are the backbone of every single expedition. Possessing unique physiological adaptations to high altitude, they perform the most dangerous work on the mountain. They fix the ropes, carry the heaviest loads of oxygen, tents, and food, and establish the camps, often making multiple trips through the most perilous sections like the Khumbu Ice. Their expertise, strength, and intimate knowledge of the mountain are indispensable. Names like Tenzing Norgay, Apa Sherpa, who summited 21 times, and Kamirita Sherpa, who holds the current record for most descents, are legends. Their contribution is often overlooked, but let's be clear. Without the Sherpas, the history of Everest climbing as we know it simply would not exist. Their courage and dedication are the foundation upon which every summit dream is built. But the allure of Everest comes with a dark side. The mountain's growing popularity has turned it into a high-altitude traffic jam, leading to dangerous overcrowding on the final ascent. This not only increases risk, but also puts immense strain on the fragile mountain environment. Decades of expeditions have left behind a trail of garbage, from empty oxygen cylinders and food wrappers to abandoned tents, and, tragically, the bodies of climbers who never made it back. Efforts are underway to clean up the mountain, with dedicated expeditions organized to remove tons of trash. It's a stark reminder that even in the most remote corners of our planet, human impact is a serious issue. We have a responsibility to protect these sacred places for future generations. Beyond the physical challenge, Everest holds a profound spiritual significance. For climbers, it's a pilgrimage, a journey of self-discovery. Standing on the summit is described as a transcendent experience, a moment of absolute clarity and humility. You are literally on top of the world, looking down on the curvature of the earth, with a panoramic view of the vast Himalayan range stretching out below. It's a moment that redefines one's perspective on life, on their own capabilities, and their place in the universe. It's a feeling of being infinitesimally small and infinitely powerful all at once. This powerful, transformative experience is what keeps drawing people back to its dangerous slopes, season after season. So, Mount Everest, Sagarmatha, Chumala. It is a place of breathtaking beauty and brutal danger, a stage for human triumph and tragedy, a sacred temple and a modern-day adventure playground. It continues to challenge us, to inspire us, and to remind us of the incredible power of both nature and the human spirit. It's a testament to our desire to push boundaries, to explore the limits of our world, and to answer that simple, eternal question: what's over the next horizon? Look at it. Its icy slopes, those jagged, unforgiving ridges, and the iconic, snow-draped peak that pierces the heavens. It dominates the skyline, a vision that, as terrifying as it is beautiful. This is a place where the very air you breathe is a precious, scarce resource, where the wind howls with a merciless, relentless force. And yet, for all its hostility, it has a voice. It calls to a certain kind of persunda, adventurer, the seeker, the one who craves a challenge that pushes them to the absolute limit of human endurance, all in the pursuit of a deeper understanding. But the story of Everest isn't just about its staggering height, not just a number in a record book. It's a grand, complex tale woven from threads of geology, culture, and relentless human ambition. Think about it. This single point on the globe has captivated us for centuries. From the very first tentative maps sketched by daring 19th century explorers who could only guess at its true scale, to the incredibly precise satellite surveys of today that measure its every shift and tremor. Everest has been a constant, magnetic subject of fascination and scientific inquiry. It's a natural laboratory at the roof of the world. Cut to a montage of historical footage. Black and white photos of early expeditions. Climbers in vintage gear, interspersed with shots of modern-day climbers and bustling base camps. The history etched into these slopes is profound. It's a story of triumph and tragedy, of legendary figures whose names are synonymous with mountaineering itself. We all know the names Sir Edmund, Hillary, and Tenzing Norgay, the pioneers who, in 1953, first stood on that summit and proved it was possible. Their achievement wasn't just a personal victory. It was a beacon of hope for a post-war world, a testament to what humanity could accomplish through courage, partnership, and sheer grit. But their story is just one chapter. There are countless others. The controversial, mysterious disappearance of Mallory and Irvine in 1920. Did they make it to the top almost 3 decades earlier? We'll explore the evidence and the enduring debate that still surrounds their final climb. We'll look at Reinhold Messner's revolutionary ascent without supplemental oxygen, an act that redefined what was thought to be physiologically possible. Each expedition, successful or not, has added another layer to the mountain's rich and complex mythology. Seen transitions to a vibrant, colorful market in a Sherpa village. We see smiling faces, prayer flags fluttering, and daily life unfolding. But to truly understand Everest, we must look beyond the climbers and into the shadows of the great peak. Here, in the Khumbu Valley, live the Sherpa people. For them, this mountain is not a conquest. It is Chamalangma, the goddess mother of the world. It is a sacred, spiritual place, deserving of deep respect and reverence. Their culture is inextricably linked to these high-altitude landscapes. They are the true custodians of this region, the backbone of every single expedition. Their unparalleled strength, high-altitude adaptation, and profound knowledge of the terrain make the impossible possible for so many who come here. We'll spend time in their communities, share a cup of butter tea, and listen to their stories of faith, family, and a unique relationship with a mountain that the rest of the world sees only as a prize. Their perspective offers a vital, humbling counterpoint to the narrative of conquest. Cut to scientific graphics illustrating plate tectonics, showing the Indian plate colliding with the Eurasian plate. And what about the mountain itself? How did this giant even come to be? The story of Everest's birth is a saga of geological time, a slow-motion collision of continents on an epic scale. About 50 million years ago, the landmass that is now India began a relentless journey northward, crashing into the Eurasian plate. The force of that impact was so immense that it buckled and folded the Earth's crust, thrusting the land upward to create the entire Himalayan range, with Everest as its crown jewel. And guess what? It's still growing. The same tectonic forces are at play today, pushing the mountain a few millimeters higher each year. We'll break down this incredible geological process and also look at the impact of climate change. The glaciers of Everest, these ancient rivers of ice, are melting at an alarming rate. What does this mean for the future of the mountain? And more importantly, for the billions of people downstream who depend on its water. The science of Everest is as compelling as any tale of adventure. Show a mix of footage, the climber meticulously checking their gear, the doctor at base camp monitoring a patient, the organized chaos of a supply line. Preparing for Everest is a monumental undertaking, a logistical and physical challenge of the highest order. It's not just about being fit. It's a multi-year commitment involving rigorous training, securing massive funding, and assembling a team you can trust with your life. We will go behind the scenes to show you what it really takes. We'll look at the science of acclimatization, the process of letting your body adapt to the dangerously low oxygen levels. We'll detail the gear that down suits, the oxygen systems, the ropes and ice axes, every piece of which is a lifeline. And we'll explore the perilous journey through the Khumbu Icefall. A constantly shifting maze of ice, blocks the size of houses, considered one of the most dangerous stages of the entire climb. It's a world of calculated risks, where one small mistake can have immediate and severe consequences. The camera follows a group of climbers on their final push towards the summit. The footage is intense. showing their slow, deliberate movements and the vast emptiness around them. And then there's the summit push. After weeks of acclimatization, of climbing up and down between camps, a window of good weather opens. This is the moment everything has been building towards. We will follow the path of climbers as they enter the death zone, the altitude above 8,000 meters, where the human body can no longer survive for long. It's a grueling 12-hour-plus ascent through the night, guided by headlamps, with temperatures plummeting to unimaginable lows. We'll witness the physical and mental toll. It takes every step is an effort. Every breath is a struggle. We'll see the famous landmarks of the final ridge, the Hillary Step, a final technical obstacle just below the summit, and we will try to capture that indescribable moment, culmination of dreams, sacrifice, and sheer willpower as a climber takes those final steps onto the roof of the world. The view from up there, they say, is not one of conquest, but of profound humility. As you gaze out across the curvature of the earth, transition to a thoughtful, slower-paced sequence of stunning time lapses of Everest under starry skies and changing weather. So why do people continue to risk everything for a few moments on this frozen peak? The answer is as varied as the individuals who are drawn to it. For some, it's the ultimate athletic challenge. For others, it's a spiritual pilgrimage. And for many, it's about discovering something deep within themselves, finding a clarity that only comes when you are stripped down to your most essential self, fighting for every breath in the harshest environment on Earth. Everest forces you to confront your own mortality, your own limits, and in doing so, it can reveal your true strength. It is a journey that changes you forever, whether you reach the summit or not. Over the next 2 hours, we invite you to join us on this extraordinary journey. We will travel across its treacherous slopes. We will listen to the voices of the people who live in its shadow, and we will follow in the footsteps of those who have dared to tread where so few have stood. This is the story of Mount Everest, in all its terrifying, beautiful, and awe-inspiring glory. We're going to the top of the world, to a place that has captivated the human imagination for centuries, Mount Everest. But this isn't just a story about climbing a mountain. It's a tale woven from threads of geology, history, spirituality, and incredible human courage. Our story begins not on the icy slopes, but in the quiet halls of the Great Trigonometrical Survey of India in the 1850s. Imagine the scene. Mathematicians hunched over complex calculations, trying to measure the peaks of the distant Himalayas. For years, they believed another mountain, Kanchenjunga, was the world's highest. But a brilliant Bengali mathematician named Radhanath Saikdar, working tirelessly, crunched the numbers from different observation points. In 1852, he burst into his superior's office and announced, "Sir, I have discovered the highest mountain in the world." Initially named Peak 15, it would later be renamed in honor of Sir George Everest, the former Surveyor General. This was the moment a geographical feature became a global icon. The naming itself was controversial. Why not use one of its local names? In Tibetan, it's Chamalungma Goddess, Mother of the World. In Nepali, it's Sagarmath, Goddess of the Sky. These names speak to a deep, spiritual connection the local people have with the mountain, seeing it not as a challenge to be conquered, but as a sacred entity. This clash of perspectives, the Western drive to measure and conquer versus the Eastern reverence and respect, is a central theme in Everest. It's a story of different worlds meeting at the foot of one colossal peak. Before anyone could even attempt to climb it, they had to find a way to get there. In the early 20th century, Tibet was a forbidden kingdom, closed to outsiders. The first British expeditions were as much about espionage and exploration as they were about mountaineering. Disguised explorers and surveyors mapped the remote region, paving the way for the climbers who would follow. These early reconnaissance missions in the 1920s were epic undertakings. They battled brutal weather, uncharted terrain, and the sheer challenge of functioning at extreme altitudes, all without the modern gear we take for granted today. They wore tweed jackets and leather boots, a far cry from the high-tech suits of modern climbers. The 1924 expedition is one of the most enduring mysteries of mountaineering. George Mallory and Andrew Sandy. Irvine made a push for the summit and were last seen going strong for the top just a few hundred meters from their goal. Then, the clouds rolled in, and they were never seen alive again. Did they make it? Mallory's body was found 75 years later, in 1999. But Irvine and the camera they carried remain missing. That camera could hold the answer to one of exploration's greatest questions. Mallory, when asked why he wanted to climb Everest, famously replied, "Because it's there." That simple, profound phrase captures the spirit of human ambition that drives people to this day. For nearly 30 more years, Everest repelled all attempts. Expeditions came and went, defeated by the weather, avalanches, and the debilitating effects of the death zone. The altitude above 8,000 meters where the human body can no longer acclimatize and slowly begins to die. The mountains seemed truly unconquerable. It took a unique partnership to finally break the spell. On May 29, 1953, the world changed. A quiet beekeeper from New Zealand, Edmund, and a highly experienced Sherpa mountaineer, Tenzing Norgay, stood on the summit. Their success was the result of a massive, military-style British expedition, meticulous planning, and a deep, unspoken bond between two men from vastly different worlds. When they returned to camp, Hillary's first words were, "Well, George, we knocked the bastard off." Their achievement was a beacon of hope in a post-war world, a testament to what humanity could achieve through collaboration and perseverance. Tenzing Norgay became a hero to his people and a global symbol of the strength and skill of the Sherpa community, who are the true guardians of this mountain. The Sherpas are the backbone of every Everest expedition. For generations, this ethnic group, who migrated from Tibet centuries ago, has lived in the high valleys of the Khumbu region, genetically adapted to high altitude. They possess a physical prowess that is simply extraordinary. But their role is more than just physical. They are guides, friends, and spiritual anchors for the foreign climbers. They fix the ropes, carry the loads, and manage the logistics that make these climbs possible. They also navigate the spiritual landscape, performing a puja ceremony at base camp to ask the mountain for safe passage. To climb Everest without understanding the culture and contribution of the Sherpa people is to miss half the story. After 1953, the golden age of Everest climbing began. New routes were forged, and mountaineers from around the world came to test their mettle. In 1975, Junko Tabai from Japan became the first woman to reach the summit, shattering stereotypes and inspiring millions. Just 3 days after her team's camp was hit by an avalanche, Sapusidon proving her incredible resilience. In 1978, Reinhold Messner and Peter Habler did the unthinkable. They climbed Everest without supplemental oxygen. The medical community thought it was impossible, that the brain would suffer irreparable damage. Their success redefined the limits of human endurance and ushered in a new, purer style of alpine. 2 years later, Messner did it again, this time solo and without oxygen, a feat that remains one of the greatest in mountaineering history. But as Everest's fame grew, so did the crowds. The 1990s saw the rise of commercial expeditions, making the dream of climbing Everest accessible to anyone with enough money and determination. This commercialization brought both opportunity and tragedy. The 1996 disaster, chronicled in John Cracker's Into Thin Air, was a stark wake-up call. A rogue storm, combined with overcrowding and a series of poor decisions, led to the deaths of 8 climbers in a single day. The tragedy exposed the dark side of the Everest industry and sparked a global debate about the ethics of guided climbs on the world's highest peak. Today, Everest is a mountain of contrasts. On one hand, it remains a place of profound beauty and ultimate adventure. On the other, it faces challenges like overcrowding, with infamous traffic jams forming on the final push to the summit. There are also growing concerns about the environmental impact, with tons of waste left behind by decades of expeditions. Efforts are underway to clean up the mountain, with dedicated teams working to restore its pristine nature. But it's an ongoing battle. The mountain's glaciers are also melting at an alarming rate due to climate change, a visible and dramatic symbol of our planet's health crisis. The changing ice makes climbing even more unpredictable and dangerous. Yet, the allure of Everest remains irresistible. Each year, hundreds of people make the pilgrimage to its base, each with their own because it's their reason. They come to push their limits, to find meaning, to stand on top of the world and see a view that has been granted to only a select few. They follow the path laid by pioneers, guided by the wisdom of the Sherpas, and become part of a story that is still being written. Everest is more than just a mountain. It's a stage 4 human drama, a laboratory for science, a sacred cathedral of nature, and a mirror that reflects our greatest ambitions and our most profound vulnerabilities. Its story teaches us about courage, partnership, the consequences of our actions, and our place in the natural world. From the first surveyors who measured its height to the climbers who dare to ascend it today, Everest challenges us to look up, to dream bigger, and to understand the world, and ourselves, just a little bit better. Have you ever looked at a mountain and wondered how it got there? Not just any mountain, but the highest, most majestic range on Earth, the Himalayas. Their story isn't just one of rock and ice. It's a tale of continents at war, a slow-motion collision that has been unfolding for millions of years. Today, we journey back in time to witness the birth of a giant, the creation of Mount Everest. Our story begins around 60 million years ago. Imagine a world vastly different from our own. The continents are not where we know them to be today. The landmass that would become the Indian subcontinent was not attached to Asia. Instead, it was a colossal island, adrift in a vast ancient ocean called the Tethys Sea, powered by the immense, unseen forces of plate tectonics. This massive island began a slow but relentless journey northward, inching its way across the globe at a rate of a few centimeters per year. It was on a collision course, and the target was the enormous Eurasian plate. Think of it like two giants, slowly marching towards each other for an inevitable showdown. For millions of years, the Indian plate drifted, carrying with it ancient forests and long-extinct creatures. The ocean floor ahead of it was being pushed down, or subducted, beneath the Eurasian plate, drawing the two land masses closer and closer together. The tension was building, a geological pressure cooker reaching its limit. This wasn't a sudden, explosive event, but a gradual, unstoppable grinding of tectonic forces. Then, about 50 million years ago, contact was made. The initial impact was monumental. The leading edge of the Indian plate slammed into the southern edge of Eurasia, but this was no ordinary crash. Because both the Indian and Eurasian plates are made of continental crust, which is relatively light and buoyant, neither one could easily be forced underneath the other. Instead of one plate diving into the mantle, take the Earth's crust buckled under the immense strain. Imagine pushing two thick rugs together. They have nowhere to go but up, forming folds and ridges. This is precisely what happened, but on a scale that is almost impossible to comprehend. Massive slabs of rock, miles thick, that once formed the seabed of the Tethys Ocean, were caught in the squeeze. They were folded, fractured, and thrust violently upwards. Layer upon layer of sedimentary rock, filled with the fossilized remains of ancient marine life, were lifted thousands of feet into the air. This is why, even today, you can find marine fossils near the summit of Mount Everest, a silent testament to its oceanic origins. The mountains began to rise, a new spine for the world being forged from the wreckage of a lost sea. This monumental uplift created the Tibetan Plateau first, a vast, high-altitude desert often called the roof of the world. As the collision continued, the pressure intensified, pushing up the jagged peaks we now recognize as the Himalayas. And from this cataclysmic, continent-shattering event, the king of all mountains was born. Mount Everest, known as Sagarmatha in Nepal and Chomolungma in Tibet. This peak is the pinnacle of our planet's terrestrial surface. The process was slow, violent, and relentless. The forces at play were so immense, they literally warped the planet's surface, creating a barrier that would forever alter weather patterns in the course of life in Asia. The Himalayas became a colossal wall, trapping monsoon moisture to the south and creating the arid deserts to the north. But the story doesn't end there. The incredible thing is, this process is still happening. The Indian plate is still pushing northward into the Eurasian plate, continuing its slow-motion assault. This means the Himalayas are still growing. They are geologically alive, Scientists have measured this growth with incredible precision using GPS technology. Mount Everest, the colossal giant, is still rising. It pushes upwards at a rate of approximately 4 millimeters each year. It may not sound like much, but over geological time, it's a significant ascent. It's as if the Earth itself is taking a slow, deep breath. And with each exhalation, the crown of the world gets a little bit higher. This constant movement is also why the region is so seismically active, with frequent earthquakes reminding us of the powerful forces churning beneath our feet. So, when we look at the breathtaking snow-capped peak of Mount Everest, we're not just seeing a static pile of rock. We are witnessing a live performance of planetary geology. We're seeing the result of a 60-million-year-old collision that continues to this day. We're seeing the seabed of an ancient ocean lifted to the heavens. Everest is more than a mountain. It's a dynamic monument to the incredible power of our planet. A story written in stone, ice, and time itself, a story that is still being written, millimeter by millimeter, every single year. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey to the top of the world. Have you ever looked at a mountain and wondered about the stories it could tell? Well, get ready, because today we're diving into the mind-blowing story of the tallest mountain on Earth, Mount Everest. And trust me, it's a story that will completely change the way you see our world. Imagine standing at the foot of this colossal giant. You'd think you're on solid, mountainous ground, right? But what if I told you that you're actually standing on the floor of an ancient ocean? It sounds impossible, but it's true. The very base of Everest is made of limestone and shale. Rocks that were formed millions of years ago from the sediments of long-forgotten sea creatures at the bottom of a vast ocean. This isn't just some wild theory. In 1924, a geologist with the British Everest expedition, Noella Odell, made a discovery that stunned the world. High up on the slopes, thousands of meters above sea level, he found fossils, not of mountain goats or ancient birds, but of marine shells. These small, silent witnesses, locked in stone, proved that the summit of the world was once submerged beneath the waves. So, how does the bottom of an ocean become the highest point on the planet? The answer lies in a story of immense power and epic timescales. It all began around 50 million years ago. Back then, the world map looked very different. The landmass that is now the Indian subcontinent was an island, drifting north across a vast body of water called the Tethys Ocean. This was no ordinary journey. The Indian tectonic plate was on a collision course with the massive Eurasian plate, and when they finally met, the impact was catastrophic. It was a slow-motion collision of unimaginable force. The immense pressure buckled the Earth's crust, squeezing and folding the land like a piece of paper. The floor of the Tethys Ocean, which lay between these two colliding continents, was caught in the middle. The sedimentary rocks, packed with the remains of marine life, were thrust upwards, inch by inch, millennium by millennium. This ancient seabed began its journey towards the sky. This monumental geological event is what created the entire Himalayan mountain range, with Everest as its crowning glory. The mountain itself is like a history book written in stone. If you were to climb it, you'd be traveling back in time with every step. The lowest slopes are made of metamorphic rocks, like gneiss and schist. These rocks tell a story of intense heat and pressure, forged deep within the Earth's crust during the initial collision. They are the very foundation of the Himalayas, the squeezed and transformed base upon which everything else was built. As you ascend higher, the rock type changes dramatically. You enter the realm of the yellow-colored bands of sedimentary rock. This is where you find those telltale fossils. These layers of limestone and dolomite whisper of the shallow, warm, tropical seas that once shimmered here. You can almost picture a world teeming with ancient marine life. A vibrant ecosystem now frozen in time, thousands of meters in the air. And then there's the summit. The famous summit pyramid. The triangular peak that defines Everest is a mix of limestone, dolomite, and even marble. This is the highest point of that ancient Tethys seafloor, now battered by relentless winds, polished by centuries of storms, and encased in ice. It is a place that has been touched by the deepest parts of the ocean and the highest reaches of the atmosphere. The process that created Everest is not over. The Indian plate is still pushing into the Eurasian plate, and as a result, Everest is still growing. Scientists estimate that it's rising by about 4 millimeters every year. It's a tiny amount, but it means that the mountain is a living, breathing, geological wonder, constantly evolving. Think about that for a moment. The next time you see a picture of Everest, don't just see a mountain. See an ancient ocean lifted to the heavens. See the fossilized ghosts of sea creatures resting near the rooftop of the world. See the raw power of our planet, a force capable of turning a seabed into a summit. It is a humbling reminder that the ground beneath our feet has a history we can barely comprehend, and that the world is a place of constant, dramatic change. The story of Everest is the ultimate testament to the dynamic and ever-changing nature of Earth. It's a story written in stone for all of us to read. Picture this: the highest point on our planet. A place so remote, so extreme. It's almost alien. We see images of climbers battling wind and ice, standing on the top of the world. But what if I told you the story of Mount Everest doesn't begin in the clouds, but deep beneath the waves of an ancient ocean? It sounds impossible, right? But the truth is, long before humans existed, long before dinosaurs roamed the earth, the place where Everest now stands was a seabed. The very rocks that climbers cling to today were once home to marine life. So, how did this underwater world become the highest mountain on Earth? That's the incredible story we're going to uncover today. It's a tale of continents in collision, of unimaginable forces shaping our planet over millions of years. Forget everything you thought you knew about mountains. We're going back in time, to the very birth of the Himalayas. Our story starts about 60 million years ago. The world map looked very different then. The landmass we now know as the Indian subcontinent wasn't attached to Asia. It was a giant island, drifting slowly but unstoppably northward across a vast ocean called the Tethys Sea. Imagine a colossal ship, but one made of rock and earth, moving at the geological snail's pace of a few centimeters per year. This journey was powered by the Earth, its engine room tectonic plates. These massive, interlocking pieces of the Earth's crust are constantly in motion, floating on the semi-molten mantle beneath. The Indian plate was on a collision course with the much larger Eurasian plate. For millions of years, it edged closer and closer, an unstoppable force of nature closing the gap. The stage was set for the most dramatic geological event in our planet's recent history. Then, it happened. The collision, it wasn't a sudden crash, but a slow, monumental crunch that has been ongoing for 50 million years and continues to this day. When the Indian plate smashed into the Eurasian plate, something had to give. The force was so immense that the Earth's crust, which is miles thick, began to buckle, fold, and crumple like a piece of paper. The seabed of the ancient Tethys Ocean, caught in the middle of this continental vice grip, was thrust violently upwards. Sedimentary rocks, formed from layers of sand, mud, and the shells of marine creatures, were squeezed and lifted, rising higher and higher. This incredible process gave birth to the Himalayas, the youngest and highest mountain range on our planet. And at the heart of this rising giant was a peak that would one day be known as Chumulungma, Sagarmatha, and Mount Everest. The proof of this incredible underwater origin is written in the rocks of Everest itself. Geologists have found marine fossils, like ancient sea lilies, called crinoids, in the limestone near the summit. That's right, fossils of sea creatures at over 8,000 meters above sea level. It's one of the most powerful pieces of evidence we have for plate tectonics. The very top layer of Mount Everest, known as the Yellow Band, is made of metamorphosed limestone that was once the floor of that ancient Tethys Sea. So when climbers stand on the summit, they're literally standing on what was once the bottom of an ocean. It's a mind-bending concept that beautifully illustrates the dynamic and ever-changing nature of our planet. The mountain isn't just a pile of rock, it's a history book, with each layer telling a story of its incredible journey from the depths of the sea to the roof of the world. And the story isn't over. The Indian subcontinent is still pushing into Asia, causing the Himalayas to grow. Mount Everest is still rising, gaining about 1/4 of an inch, or a little over 1/2 centimeter, every single year. It's a slow but relentless upward push, This constant geological pressure is also what makes the region so prone to powerful earthquakes. The mountains are alive, constantly shifting and evolving. So, the next time you see a picture of that iconic peak, don't just see a mountain. See an ancient seabed, lifted to the heavens by the slow, powerful dance of continents. See the fossilized remains of marine life, now resting thousands of meters in the sky. It's a powerful reminder that the world around us is not static. It's a dynamic, breathing entity, shaped by forces we can barely comprehend, over timescales that dwarf a human lifetime. The story of Everest is the story of our planet itself, a story of constant transformation, from the ocean floor to the highest peak. This incredible journey from seabed to summit really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? It shows us that even the most solid and permanent-seeming features of our world have a dynamic and astonishing history. Mount Everest isn't just a challenge for climbers. It's a monument to the immense power of our planet's geology, a story written in stone over tens of millions of years. It's a testament to the slow, relentless forces that have shaped our world and continue to do so today. I hope you found this journey back in time as fascinating as I did. Learning about the origins of natural wonders like Everest gives us a deeper appreciation for the incredible planet we call home. Did you know the highest point on Earth was once at the bottom of the sea? It sounds like a riddle, but it's the incredible, true story of Mount Everest. Let's travel back in time, about 50 million years ago. Imagine a vast, ancient ocean called the Tethys Sea, teeming with life. Now, picture the colossal landmasses, the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates, on a collision course. They weren't just bumping into each other, they were crashing in the slowest, most powerful collision our planet has ever seen. The Indian plate, relentless and unstoppable, began to slide underneath the Eurasian plate. This epic geological battle buckled the Earth's crust, folding and faulting it like a piece of paper. From this cataclysmic event, the entire Himalayan mountain range, the rooftop of the world, was born. And its crowning glory, the magnificent peak we now call Mount Everest. But the story doesn't end there. The incredible upward thrust that created Everest continues even today. It's as if the Earth itself is taking a slow, deep breath, constantly reshaping its crown. Scientists have measured this growth, and they estimate that the mountain still rises by about 4 millimeters each year. That might not sound like much, but over geological time, it's a testament to the living, breathing nature of our planet. Every year, Everest gets a tiny bit closer to the stars. Now, here's where it gets truly mind-blowing. If you were to stand at the base of Everest today, the very ground beneath your feet would be ancient oceanic rock. UDB standing on limestone and shale that were formed from the sediments of long-forgotten sea creatures at the bottom of that Tethys Sea. And it's not just at the base. Climbers have discovered fossils of marine shells and other sea life high up on its formidable slopes, thousands of meters above sea level. Think about that for a moment. These small, delicate fossils are silent witnesses to an astonishing history written in stone. They tell a story of unimaginable transformation, of a world constantly in flux. They prove, without a doubt, that the summit of the world was once the floor of the ocean, the very rock that now endures freezing temperatures and brutal winds, once lay in the quiet, dark depths of the sea. This journey from seabed to summit is a powerful reminder of the immense forces that shape our world. The slow, patient dance of tectonics plates, playing out over millions of years, can lift the ocean floor to touch the sky. It's a process that's both violent and beautiful, destructive and creative. The formation of the Himalayas didn't just create mountains, it dramatically altered global climate patterns and ecosystems, influencing life across the planet. The local Sherpa people, who have a deep spiritual connection to the mountain they call or goddess mother of the world, have long understood its sacred and powerful nature. Their traditions and stories are interwoven with the mountain's formidable presence. For them, Everest isn't just a geological feature. It's a living entity, a deity, deserving of respect. This spiritual perspective adds another layer of wonder to the mountain's scientific story. So, the next time you see a picture of Mount Everest's majestic peak piercing the clouds, remember its humble origins. Remember the ancient ocean, the microscopic sea creatures, and the epic continental collision that set the stage. Remember that you're looking at a mountain that is still growing, still reaching for the heavens. You're re-looking at a place where the secrets of the deep sea are now held captive in the sky. A stunning paradox of nature that continues to inspire awe and wonder in all of us. Everest is more than just the world's highest peak. It's a geological epic, a story of transformation, and a monument to the incredible, dynamic power of our planet Earth. Have you ever looked at a picture of Mount Everest and wondered, what's its story? I don't just mean the stories of climbers who dared to scale its heights, but the story of the mountain itself. A story written in stone, ice, and fire, spanning millions of years. It's a tale far grander and more epic than any human adventure. And today, we're going to read it together. Imagine peeling back the layers of Everest like the pages of an ancient book. The first few chapters begin deep down at its base. The lower slopes are made of metamorphic rock gneiss and schista tubi. Precise. These aren't just any old rocks. They are a testament to unimaginable pressure and heat. They tell us a story of a time when this part of the Earth was buried deep within the crust, squeezed and cooked by the planet's internal furnace. It's the very foundation of the giant we see today, forged in the depths long before it ever reached for the sky. Now, let's climb higher in our geological journey. As we ascend, the rock type changes dramatically. We enter a new chapter, written in bands of yellow and gray sedimentary rock. You'll find limestone and dolomite here, and this is where the story gets truly These rocks are formed from the fossilized remains of ancient sea creatures. Yes, you heard that right. The middle section of the world's highest mountain was once the floor of a shallow, tropical sea. Close your eyes and picture it. Warm, shimmering waters teeming with life, when now there is only frigid air and barren rock. These layers are like a time capsule, whispering of an ancient ocean called the Tethys, which separated the continents of India and Asia millions of years ago. Every fossil fragment embedded in this limestone is a character in that long-lost world. Finally, we reach the summit, the famous pyramid of rock that pierces the sky. This final, dramatic chapter is written in a mix of limestone, marble, and shale. This is the Kamalanga Formation, named after the Tibetan name for Everest. It's the very same rock that once lay peacefully on the seabed, but now it stands at the highest point on Earth, battered by hurricane-force winds and polished by centuries of relentless storms. Think about that for a moment. The rock beneath the climber's feet at the summit was once home to marine life. It's a journey of over 8,000 meters, from the bottom of an ocean to the top of the world. It's the ultimate story of uplift, a physical monument to the immense power of our planet's geology. So, how did this incredible transformation happen? How did a seabed become the roof of the world? The answer lies in one of the most powerful forces in nature. Plate tectonics. About 50 million years ago, a massive tectonic plate carrying the landmass we now know as India began a slow-motion collision with the Eurasian plate. It wasn't a crash in the way we think of one. It was a relentless, unstoppable push. As the Indian plate drove northward, it burrowed underneath the Eurasian plate. The immense pressure of this collision caused the land to buckle, fold, and thrust upwards. The ancient Tethys Sea was squeezed out of existence, and the sedimentary rocks on its floor were crumpled and lifted, higher and higher over millions of years. T's process, this continental collision, is what gave birth to the entire Himalayan range, with Everest as its magnificent centerpiece. And here's something that might surprise you. The story isn't over. Everest is still growing. The forces that created it are very much still at work today. The Himalayas sit along one of the most active fault lines on the planet. The Indian plate continues to push into Asia at a rate of a few centimeters per year, about the same speed your fingernails grow. This constant pressure means the mountains are still being pushed upwards. Scientists estimate that Everest is growing by about half a centimeter every year. Well, that doesn't sound like much over geological time. It adds up. Each tremor, each earthquake in the region is a reminder of this ongoing symphony of geology, a sign that the planet is alive and breathing beneath our feet. The mountain we see today is not a static monument. It's a dynamic, evolving landscape. But rock isn't the only thing shaping Everest. There's another powerful architect at work. ice. The upper reaches of the mountain are draped in vast glaciers, slow-moving rivers of ice that have been carving and sculpting the landscape. Khumbu ice. This is where the glacier tumbles over a steep drop, shattering into a chaotic, constantly shifting labyrinth of ice towers, known as seracs, and deep, dark crevasses. It's often called the most dangerous mile on Earth by climbers, and for good reason. The ice here is in constant motion. Seracs the size of buildings can topple without warning, and new crevasses can split open overnight. It's a place that is both breathtakingly beautiful and terrifyingly deadly. The groans and cracks of the moving ice are the mountain's voice, a vivid reminder of how alive this frozen world truly is. The icefall is a perfect illustration of the dynamic tension on Everest, a place where the creative forces of geology meet the destructive, sculpting power of ice. So, the next time you see that iconic peak, remember the epic story it tells. It's a story of ancient oceans and fiery depths, of continental collisions and relentless uplift. It's a story of rock forged in pressure, lifted to the heavens, and then carved by ancient rivers of ice. Everest isn't just a mountain. It's a living, breathing history of our planet, a dynamic masterpiece that is still being created right before our eyes. We're heading to the top of the world, to a place where the sky meets the earth, a place that has captured the human imagination for centuries. High in the majestic Himalayas, straddling the border of Nepal and China's Tibet Autonomous Region, stands a peak of mythic proportions, Mount Everest, soaring to an astonishing 8,848.86 meters, or over 29,000 feet above sea level. Everest isn't just a mountain. It's a symbol of ultimate challenge and breathtaking beauty. It's rightfully earned its nickname, the roof of the world, because from its summit, you are literally standing on the highest point on our planet. For climbers, it's the ultimate test of endurance and spirit. For the rest of us, it represents the pinnacle of nature's power and a beacon of human ambition. Throughout history, this colossal peak has been a source of fascination. It has inspired countless stories, fueled legendary expeditions, and become a sacred place for the local Sherpa people, who know it as Chumolungma, the goddess, mother of the world. Its allure is undeniable, a siren call to those who wish to witness its grandeur, whether from its base or from its formidable peak. In this video, we're going to explore every facet of this incredible natural wonder. We'll soar above its icy ridges, delve into its geological origins, uncover the history of the brave souls who first dared to conquer it, and meet the unique wildlife that calls this extreme environment home. We will also learn about the culture that thrives in its shadow and confront the modern challenges that threaten its pristine environment. So, take a deep breath of that crisp mountain air as we begin our ascent. This is the story of Mount Everest, the roof of our world. To truly understand Everest, we must travel back in time, long before any humans set foot on its slopes. The story of this mountain is a story of immense geological forces, a planetary collision of epic scale. The Himalayas, the mountain range that cradles Everest, are surprisingly young in geological terms. Their creation began around 50 to 60 million years ago, a dramatic event that reshaped the face of our planet. Imagined colossal landmasses, the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates, drifting across the ancient Tethys Ocean. For millions of years, the Indian plate journeyed northwards at a steady pace. Then, the inevitable happened. It collided with the Eurasian plate. The impact was monumental. The immense pressure caused the land to buckle, fold, and thrust upwards, like a rug being pushed from one end. This colossal crumbling and uplifting is what gave birth to the Himalayan mountain range. The very rocks that form Everest's summit were once part of the seafloor of the Tethys Ocean. Isn't that incredible? If you were to examine them closely, you would find marine fossils, silent witnesses to an aquatic past, now sitting at the highest point on Earth. These limestone and dolomite rocks tell a story of transformation from the bottom of the sea to the top of the world, and the mountain is still growing. The tectonic collision that formed the Himalayas is not over. It's an ongoing process. The Indian plate continues to push into the Eurasian plate, causing the entire range to rise. Everest itself is growing taller by about 4 millimeters, or the thickness of 2 coins, every single year. It's a slow, imperceptible movement, but it's a constant reminder of the dynamic, living nature of our planet. This constant uplift is one part of the story, but ice is the other. Everest is a world of glaciers, vast rivers of ice that sculpt and shape the mountain. As snow accumulates over millennia, it compacts under its own weight, transforming into dense glacial ice. These glaciers are in constant slow-motion movement, grinding away at the rock and carving out the valleys and sharp ridges we see today. Perhaps the most famous and feared glacial feature on Everest is the Khumbu Icefall. Located at the head of the Khumbu Glacier, it's a chaotic, treacherous maze of ice towers, known as seracs, and deep crevasses. The glacier here moves at a relatively rapid pace, up to a meter per day, causing the icefall to be in a constant state of flux. It's an unpredictable and dangerous obstacle that climbers must navigate on their way to the summit, a powerful demonstration of nature's raw and untamed energy. From a dramatic birth to its ongoing growth and icy transformation, Everest is a living, breathing geological marvel. It's a testament to the immense power of our planet, a story written in rock, ice, and time itself. As we continue our exploration, we'll see how this incredible geology has set the stage for one of the greatest adventures on Earth, Mount Everest. For many, it's the ultimate symbol of human ambition, a place where dreams are forged and limits are tested. But behind the iconic peak lie countless stories, not just of conquest, but of incredible resilience, heartbreaking loss, and the unbreakable spirit of those who dare to climb. Today, we're looking beyond the summit photos to explore the real faces of Everest. For every triumphant photos at the top of the world, there are stories of unimaginable hardship. Take Beck Weathers, a pathologist who was left for dead during the infamous 1996 disaster. Blinded and frostbitten, he lay in the snow for hours, a frozen ghost on the mountain, but something inside him refused to give up. He miraculously awoke and stumbled back to camp, a testament to the sheer, primal will to survive. His story isn't just about survival. It's a powerful reminder that even when all hope seems lost, the human spirit can find a way. Then there are the repeat climbers, those drawn back to the death zone time and time again. Apa Sherpa and Furbatashi Sherpa have each reached the summit more than 20 times. For them, it's not just about personal achievement. They're the backbone of Everest expeditions, carrying loads, fixing ropes, and guiding others through the most dangerous terrain on Earth. Their connection to the mountain is profound, a blend of spiritual respect, professional duty, and a deep understanding of its moods. They are the unsung heroes, the true kings of the mountain, whose stories are etched into every footstep on the icy slopes. The history of Everest is also a story of breaking barriers. Junko Tabai, a Japanese climber, became the first woman to reach the summit in 1975. At a time when many believed women did not belong in high-altitude mountaineering, she defied expectations with quiet determination. Just 12 days before her summit push, her camp was buried by an avalanche. She was knocked unconscious, but was pulled from the snow by her Sherpa guide. Undeterred, she continued her ascent, proving to the world that courage and strength have no gender. Her legacy has paved the way for countless female adventurers, from Lakpa Sherpa, who holds the women's record for most ascents, to Arunima Sinha, the first female amputee to conquer Everest. But we must also speak of the silence of those who never returned. The Rainbow Valley, an area littered with the brightly colored gear of fallen climbers, is a somber reminder of Everest's unforgiving nature. The stories of climbers like Rob Hall and Scott Fisher, experienced guides who perished in the 1996 storm while trying to save their clients, are tragedies that have shaped modern climbing safety. Their sacrifices led to better weather forecasting, stricter turnaround times, and a greater emphasis on teamwork. Every loss on Everest carries a heavy lesson, a whispered warning to all who follow. It teaches us that the mountain always has the final say, and that humility is the most crucial piece of gear you can carry. So, what does it truly take to face Everest? It's more than just physical strength. It's the mental fortitude to push through excruciating pain, to battle the oxygen-starved haze that clouds your judgment, and to make life or death decisions in a split second. It has the ability to find hope in the bleakest of landscapes, and to trust the person climbing beside you with your life. Every climber who sets foot on Everest carries their own reasons, a personal dream, a tribute to a loved one, or a quest to discover their own limits. These faces, these stories of triumph, tragedy, and tenacity are the true soul of Mount Everest. They remind us that the mountain is more than a geographic landmark. It's a stage for the human drama, a place where we see the very best and the most vulnerable parts of ourselves. It's a testament to our enduring desire to reach for the heavens, no matter the cost. From the sun-scorched valleys to the frozen peaks, our planet is a world of extremes. Today, we're embarking on an epic journey to Earth's most challenging environments, exploring the incredible life that not only survives, but thrives against all odds. Get ready to witness nature at its most raw and resilient. This is nature's extreme. Our journey begins at the base of the world's great mountain ranges. Here, in the lower altitudes, life is abundant. Lush forests teem with a dizzying variety of plants and animals. In the temperate zones, you'll find sprawling woodlands of oak and maple, home to deer, bears, and a symphony of songbirds. It's a world of plenty, where mild weather and rich soil provide the perfect conditions for life to flourish. As we move towards the tropics, these forests become even more vibrant. Rainforests, the planet's green heart, are bursting with biodiversity. Monkeys chatter in the canopy, iridescent insects flit between exotic flowers, and elusive big cats patrol the forest floor. These ecosystems are complex and interconnected, a delicate balance of predator and prey, of growth and decay. Life here seems easy, but even in this paradise, the struggle for survival is constant. Every creature, from the smallest ant to the largest elephant, must find its niche, compete for resources, and avoid becoming another's meal. This is the foundation from which we ascend, a world of abundance that will soon give way to a realm of scarcity and incredible adaptation. The higher we go, the tougher the rules become. Now, let's begin our ascent. As we climb, the air grows thinner, the temperature drops, and the landscape begins to change dramatically. We've entered the subalpine zone, a transitional world between the gentle lowlands and the harsh peaks. The dense forests give way to scattered stands of hardy conifers like firs and pines. These trees are built for survival, their conical shape helping to shed heavy snow, and their waxy needles conserving precious water. The animals here are tougher, too. You might spot a sure-footed mountain goat navigating a rocky outcrop or hear the whistle of a marmot, the sentinel of the high country. These creatures have adapted with thicker fur for insulation and specialized behaviors to cope with the changing seasons. They might hibernate through the brutal winters or migrate to lower elevations when food becomes scarce. This is a world defined by resilience. Every plant and animal has a strategy, a unique set of tools to withstand the increasing pressure of the altitude. The beauty here is starker, more rugged, a testament to the tenacity of life. We are leaving the world of comfort behind and entering a domain where only the truly specialized can survive. We now push higher, into the alpine zone, above the tree line. Here, the world transforms into a breathtaking, yet brutal, landscape. There are no more trees to shield us from the wind. The air is thin, and the sun's ultraviolet radiation is intense. It feels like we're on the roof of the world. The weather here is notoriously unpredictable. A calm sunny morning can turn into a raging blizzard in a matter of minutes. Hurricane-force winds can scour the slopes, and temperatures can plummet far below freezing. Ebony summer. This is one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Yet, even here, life clings on with astonishing determination. We find miniature gardens of alpine wildflowers, growing low to the ground to escape the punishing winds. Plants like saxifrage and cushion pinks have deep root systems to anchor themselves and find moisture. They often have tiny, hairy leaves to reduce water loss and trap warmth. These aren't just plants, they are marvels of biological engineering. And what about the animals? You might be surprised to find insects like bumblebees, which have evolved to fly in colder temperatures, or small mammals like picas, who spend their short summers frantically gathering and drying vegetation to survive the long, snow-covered winter. Every living thing in the alpine zone is a master of survival, a specialist in the art of enduring hardship. Their existence is a powerful reminder that life is incredibly persistent, finding a way to thrive in the most unlikely of places. At last, we reach the summit. We are in the naval zone, the realm of permanent snow and ice. Here, life, as we know it, seems to vanish. The landscape is a stark canvas of rock, snow, and glaciers. The air is so thin it's a struggle to breathe, and the cold is relentless. This is the closest thing to an alien world on our own planet. But look closer, even in this frozen wasteland, life persists. Microscopic organisms, like snow algae, thrive in the snowpack, sometimes tinting it red or pink in a phenomenon known as watermelon snow. These tiny life forms are the base of a surprisingly complex food web. They are fed upon by minuscule creatures like iceworms, which burrow through the glacial ice. These extremophiles, organisms that thrive in physically or geochemically extreme conditions, are pushing the known limits of life. They challenge our understanding of what is possible and offer clues about how life might exist on other planets. Standing, areas surrounded by the immense power and silence of the peaks, you feel a profound sense of awe. This is the ultimate frontier, a testament to nature's raw power and the incredible, indomitable spirit of life to conquer even the most inhospitable corners of our world. It's a humbling experience, a reminder of our small place in this vast, wild universe. But this world of ice and snow is changing, and it's changing fast. The glaciers, these magnificent rivers of ice that have sculpted mountains for millennia, are in retreat. Around the globe, from the Alps to the Himalayas, from the Andes to the Rockies, we are witnessing a dramatic and accelerating melt. This isn't a natural cycle, it's a direct consequence of our warming climate. As global temperatures rise, the delicate balance that sustains these glaciers is being disrupted. They are melting faster than they can be replenished by new snowfall. The evidence is undeniable. You can see the trim lines on the valley walls, scars on the rock showing where the ice once reached. Old photographs and historical records paint a stark picture of just how much ice we have lost in only a few decades. This isn't just a loss of scenic beauty, it has profound consequences. Glaciers act as the world's water towers, storing fresh water and releasing it slowly during the drier seasons. Billions of people downstream rely on this glacial meltwater for drinking, agriculture, and hydropower. As the glaciers shrink, these vital water supplies are threatened, leading to potential shortages and conflicts. The retreat of glaciers is one of the most visible and unambiguous indicators of climate change, a silent alarm bell ringing from the highest peaks on Earth, warning us of the urgent need for action. The impacts of this rapid change ripple down the mountainside, affecting every ecosystem we've explored. As glaciers disappear, the unique habitats of extremophiles like iceworms and snow algae vanish with them. We risk losing these species before we've even had a chance to fully understand them. Further in the alpine and subalpine zones, the warming temperatures are allowing tree lines to advance uphill. Forests are creeping into areas that were once open tundra. This might sound good, but it fundamentally alters the habitat, squeezing out the specialized alpine plants and animals that have nowhere higher to go. These species are literally being pushed off the mountain. The delicate wildflowers and hardy picas we met earlier face an uncertain future. Changes in snowpack and melt patterns also disrupt the life cycles of countless species. Animals that rely on a specific timing for hibernation or migration are finding their ancient rhythms thrown into disarray. The entire mountain ecosystem, a complex web of life fine-tuned over thousands of years, is being The consequences are cascading, creating a chain reaction that we are only just beginning to comprehend. The extremes are becoming more extreme, and the resilience of nature, while incredible, has its limits. From the vibrant life in the foothills to the microscopic survivors on the highest peaks, we've seen how nature adapts to the most extreme conditions. But we've also seen how this delicate balance is now threatened by a force more powerful and rapid than any natural challenge. Human-induced climate change. The retreating glaciers and shifting ecosystems are a clear and urgent message. The story of nature's extreme is no longer just one of resilience. It is now a story of vulnerability. The future of these breathtaking landscapes and the incredible life they support is in our hands. It's a reminder that our actions have far-reaching consequences, echoing to the very roof of the world. We must listen to the mountains and act to protect these precious, wild places for generations to come. When we think of Mount Everest, we often picture daring climbers, breathtaking views, and the ultimate test of human endurance. But there's another side to this majestic peak, one that's less about conquest and more about discovery. Today, we're journeying to the roof of the world to explore Everest, not as a summit to be conquered, but as a giant natural laboratory. From its treacherous weather to the very rock it's made of, scientists are unlocking incredible secrets that affect us all. So, grab your virtual gear, and let's dive into the fascinating science of Mount Everest. First up, let's talk about the weather. Everest is famous for its extreme and unpredictable climate, where a calm, sunny day can turn into a life-threatening blizzard in a matter of minutes. This makes it a perfect, albeit challenging, place for meteorological research. In recent years, scientists have installed the highest altitude weather stations in the world on and around Everest. These stations are true marvels of engineering, designed to withstand hurricane-force winds and temperatures that plummet far below freezing. What are they measuring? Everything: wind speed, temperature, air pressure, humidity, and solar radiation. This data is transmitted in real time and is absolutely crucial. For climbers, it provides more accurate forecasts, dramatically increasing safety on the mountain. But the impact is much broader. This information helps scientists understand the jet stream, the high-altitude river of air that influences weather patterns across the entire northern hemisphere. By studying the extreme conditions on Everest, we get a better picture of how our global climate system works, helping to refine weather models that we all rely on. It is a classic example of how research in a remote location can have a direct impact on our daily lives. Now, let's look beneath the ice. Everest and the surrounding Himalayas are often called the third pole because they hold the largest reserve of fresh water outside of the polar regions. The glaciers here are like massive, slow-moving rivers of ice that feed the major rivers of Asia, providing water for billions of people. This makes geological and glacial research on Everest incredibly important. Scientists drill deep into the ice, extracting ice cores that are like frozen time capsules. By analyzing the layers in these cores, they can look back thousands of years. Trapped air bubbles reveal the composition of the atmosphere in the past, while dust and pollen tell stories of ancient climates and environmental changes. This historical data is vital for understanding natural climate cycles and putting modern climate change into context. Researchers are also studying how quickly these glaciers are melting, using GPS trackers and satellite imagery. They can measure the movement and shrinking of the ice with astonishing precision. This research isn't just academic. It is essential for predicting future water availability for vast populations and understanding the potential impacts of rising sea levels globally. Everest's glaciers are a critical barometer for the health of our planet. Of course, you can't talk about Everest without mentioning the incredible physical challenge it presents. The thin air at extreme altitudes poses a huge risk to the human body. This has turned the mountain into a unique laboratory for studying high-altitude physiology. When climbers ascend, their bodies have to adapt to the low oxygen levels, a process called acclimatization. Scientists are fascinated by this. By studying climbers, they can learn how the human body responds to hypoxia, or lack of oxygen. Researchers take blood samples, monitor heart rates, and measure lung function to see what changes occur. They study the genetic traits of Sherpa, who have lived at high altitudes for generations, and possess remarkable adaptations that allow them to thrive in this environment. This research has profound medical implications. Understanding how the body copes with low oxygen can help treat patients with conditions like heart and lung disease, sleep apnea, or those recovering from major surgery. The lessons learned on the slopes of Everest are helping doctors in hospitals around the world save lives. It's a powerful reminder of how pushing human limits can advance medical science for everyone. So how do we get all this data from such a remote and dangerous place? This is where modern technology comes in. Satellites and advanced mapping techniques have completely revolutionized how we see and study Everest. High-resolution satellite imagery allows scientists to monitor changes on the mountain with incredible detail. From the shifting of glaciers to the risk of avalanches, they can create incredibly precise 3D models of the entire region without ever setting foot on the most dangerous slopes. Techniques like LiDAR, which uses laser pulses to measure distances, can map the mountain's surface with centimeter-level accuracy, revealing subtle changes over time. GPS technology, once a bulky piece of equipment, is now small enough for climbers to carry. tracking their routes and providing invaluable data on everything from human movement to the slow, tectonic creep of the mountain itself. Yes, Everest is still growing. The Indian tectonic plate is continuously pushing under the Eurasian plate, lifting the Himalayas a few millimeters every year. These modern tools allow us to measure this epic geological process in real time. It's a fusion of old-school exploration and cutting-edge technology, painting the most complete picture of Everest we've ever had. From the air we breathe to the water we drink and the very limits of our own bodies, the science conducted on Mount Everest has far-reaching implications. It's a place that continues to challenge us, not just physically, but intellectually. The mountain is more than just a peak to be climbed. It's a guardian of ancient secrets and a vital indicator of our planet's future. The researchers working there are true heroes, braving extreme conditions in the pursuit of knowledge that benefits all of humanity. Everest teaches us about resilience, adaptation, and the intricate connections that bind our world together. It reminds us that there is always more to discover, and that the greatest adventures are often those of the mind. Can you imagine the world's highest peak starting its life at the bottom of the ocean? It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but it's the incredible true story of Mount Everest. Long before any human saw it, long before even the first bird soared over its icy ridge, the story of Everest began in a place you'd least expect. Deep beneath an ancient sea. Let's rewind the clock, way back, about 60 million years ago. The world map looked completely different. The landmass we now know as the Indian subcontinent wasn't attached to Asia at all. It was a massive, isolated island, adrift on the vast Tethys Ocean, powered by the immense, slow-motion engine of plate tectonics. This colossal island was on a journey, creeping northward at a speed of a few centimeters per year. It sounds slow, but in geological time, it's a high-speed collision course. Its destination, the giant Eurasian landmass. For millions of years, the Indian plate drifted, carrying with it the seabed sediments, ancient marine life, and the very foundation of future mountains. Think of it as a gigantic conveyor belt, carrying the building blocks of the Himalayas across an ocean. The pressure was building. The stage was being set for the most dramatic geological event our planet has seen in recent history. Then, the moments of impact. An unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. When the Indian plate finally slammed into the Eurasian plate, the collision was so powerful that it buckled the Earth's crust. It was a slow-motion crash of continental proportions, happening over millions of years, but with a force that defies imagination. The immense pressure had nowhere to go but up. Imagine two giant carpets being pushed together. They wrinkle, they fold, they rise up in the middle. That's exactly what happened to the Earth's crust. Massive slabs of rock, miles thick, were folded, fractured, and thrust violently upwards. The ancient seabed of the Tethys Ocean, which had been peacefully resting at the bottom of the sea for eons, was now being lifted towards the sky. The rocks that form the summit of Mount Everest today are made of marine limestone from that very ocean floor. That's right. You can find fossils of ancient sea creatures at the top of the world. It's a mind-blowing reminder of Everest's underwater origins. This colossal uplifting process gave birth to the Himalayas, the youngest and highest mountain range on our planet. They are often called the roof of the world, and for a good reason. This range stretches over 2,400 kilometers and includes over 50 mountains exceeding 7,200 meters in height, including, of course, the king of them all, Mount Everest. But the story doesn't end there. The Indian plate is still pushing into the Eurasian plate today. The Himalayas are still growing. Scientists estimate that Mount Everest is rising by about 4 millimeters every year. It's a living, breathing mountain range, constantly evolving. This continuous geological activity is also what makes the region so prone to powerful earthquakes. The same forces that create these majestic peaks also unleash incredible destructive power. Think about the sheer scale of this. For 60 million years, a silent, relentless process has been at work, pushing land from the bottom of the sea to nearly 9,000 meters into the atmosphere. It's a process driven by the heat deep within our planet's core, a process that continues to shape our world in profound ways. So, when you see a picture of Mount Everest, piercing the clouds, don't just see a mountain. See an ancient ocean floor. See two continents locked in an eternal, slow-motion embrace. See a testament to the immense power and incredible patience of our planet. The story of Everest isn't just about height and conquest. It's a story about deep time, continental drift, and the unbelievable journey of rock from the depths of the sea to the roof of the world. It's a geological epic, written in stone and ice, for all of us to marvel at. I hope this journey back in time has given you a new perspective on this iconic mountain. It's truly amazing what our planet is capable of. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Earth's history, please give this video a thumbs up. And do you forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do miss our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.